For like in the homemaking space, at one point, the whole thing was like having a farm, living on a bunch of land. I don't think every single person was meant to have a big farm. I think it was supposed to be communal in that way. A group of people who do different things, because what person can do everything well? No one. I don't know a doctor who also is a hairstylist, who also is a chef, who also is a herder. To master something takes time. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Gwen. For those of you who are new here, it's been about 70 days since I filmed the video, and honestly, for me, that's such a long time. And so we're going to be chatting about why, my reflections on social media, but most importantly, we're going to be chatting about the topic of today's video, which is the dangers of taking someone else's calling, putting on someone else's persona, and the dangers of taking people's season and making it your own. So it's definitely going to be a long chit chat. Okay, so go ahead, grab some tea, grab some coffee. Let's get into it. So a few months ago, maybe in November, I took a break from being online. And after I took that break, I had a newfound revelation that, hey, Gwen, you see what it's like to not create, to not have your hobby that you actually enjoy. I actually like creating content, and it's okay to like that and to have that as a hobby. And so I ended my social media break, went back online, and a girlfriend of mine who's like an online girlfriend, she was just telling me how like she was pretty much done with being online. She was done with social media. The old Gwen would have took that and applied it to my life. And I would have heard her sharing about all the things she hated about being online. And I would have said, oh my goodness, do I hate it too? Is that for me as well? But because I took a break, took a moment to really ponder on what was best for me, I realized, wow, you're taking a step back. That is amazing that you realize what you need to do. I have come to the opposite conclusion, and it is okay. That was a valuable lesson that I needed to learn, because I take things that I hear, especially if it comes from a Christian, which I have to realize all Christians, we are all different. We are all unique. We all have certain gifts and talents that are different from each other. We're not carbon copies of each other. Like, it is okay to be different. And honestly, that is what sparked me to do this video. I really wanted to kind of dive deep into the dangers of taking on the persona of someone else. So me and this particular friend, we had our chat about the social media thing, and we also chatted about this woman who is online, who, I'm not going to say who it is, but a lot of us probably knows this woman. She makes a lot of controversial content about biblical homemaking, and a lot of it is true what she's saying, but she has the internet up in arms a lot of the time because of how she delivers her message. I think I was like, oh, did you see this post? Like, what are your thoughts on this? And she was the one who told me, like, oh, I spoke with this lady. She actually looked up to this woman who wrote a book, and she doesn't really make a lot of content much online, but she wrote a book with the same exact talking points. And this woman told my friend, like, I look up to her. It really inspires a lot of the things that I say online, my content. And so when she told me this, I was kind of shocked because I thought the ideas were original, which that was a L on me, because nothing is new under the sun. Okay. And when she started telling me about the author that she actually looks up to, she was describing someone who was completely different from this woman online and how they deliver their messages. And it hit me. That is so dangerous when you choose to take on the persona of someone else and make it your own, because people literally have callings on their life, and they are blessed with attributes and personality traits that go along with that calling. Many times we find ourselves being in situations that weren't necessarily meant for us to be in. For example, if you were a person who are called to fame, a lot of famous people who may be called to live that kind of life have a certain level of thick skin that complement them, because you need thick skin in order to be famous. On the contrary, if you're not called to be famous and you don't have thick skin, maybe you're a little bit more soft, maybe you're a little bit more emotional, you take every single thing to heart, but now you find yourself living out this calling of being a famous person, and you're not necessarily graced to be a famous person. So instead of this position serving you and serving those around you, it's actually making your life pretty miserable. I'm learning that no matter what you do in life, what calling you have on your life, it's always going to be something that comes with it. But the beauty is that if it's something that you are graced for, you can handle the hardships that comes with that particular calling. But if you're not graced for it, it could potentially take you out. That's why I never really get upset, or I never really look at other people and want what they have, because I may not be graced to deal with a situation that will inevitably come with that calling. Like in the example that we're talking about, the woman who makes these posts online with these very controversial talking points, when you see these posts, you don't feel the love behind it. Are you trying to hurt people, or are you trying to bring people to Christ? Are you just trying to get attention from online by being controversial? I was just thinking like how she was completely different from the lady that my friend was telling me about, because my lady had read this woman's writings too. She actually looked up to this woman, and she was like, when she would talk about biblical homemaking, biblical womanhood, she would say it in such an eloquent way with love that like you really wanted to correct your behaviors to be more like Christ. Like she drew people and women in with so much love. It was really doing what it was intended to do, which was reach a person, correct you in a loving way, and hopefully you can learn so you can change your family's life and dynamic and then share that on with other women. But the other lady who was sharing the same exact messages, it hit me. She may not have been blessed with the other personality trait that that original woman had. Here, this woman was sharing the same exact messages, but her message was falling on deaf ears because she did not have the loving component, the compassionate component that that other person had. It was like a reflection point for me, and it was something that I really needed to see, because sometimes we think we can do exactly what this person does and it's going to look the same on us, and it's not. You're a completely different person. Your makeup is different. Your qualities are different. The way you deliver a message is different. And so you can take that same exact message that someone else can say, and it is completely received in the wrong way because you don't have the grace that comes with that other person. I've shared this before, but sometimes we see things on other people and we think, wow, she's really killing it. Like she looks so good in that role. And that's because that role was designed for her. She's doing what was designed for her. You can do that exact same thing and you may make it look so bad. Like you may actually feel miserable because you're not called to do that. This is a homemaking community and we talk a lot about not being the typical boss babe woman. And I used to work for a lady who was the typical boss babe kind of woman. And she is such an amazing woman in her role. She loves that grind, hustle mentality, and she flourishes in these type of environments. And if someone looks at her, which a lot of people would, they will look at her and they would think that they can do that same exact thing. They can be the CEO of all these suites, and people would see her and they would think they can do exactly what she was doing, but they would try and they would crumble because they were taking on this persona of someone else when they should have just been chasing what was for them, doing what was for them, and then flourishing in that. Because one thing that you realize is that whenever you're doing something and you're walking in your God-given calling, it's going to look good because you're doing what comes natural versus you taking on how someone else is and not working for you. Even when it comes down to fashion, we've seen people dress in a way that, one person may feel super confident in what they have on. It's like they are killing it. You can look at them, you're like, I could never wear that, but she's killing it. And then you have another person who can wear the exact same thing, but she just feels uncomfortable. She feels like, I'm not comfortable in this. And it's because you need to find what's comfortable for you. What looks good on you. Oh, there was a time when I was working at a bar, pre-Jesus days, okay? Literally, I had this boss who was like the manager. And back in the day, I would wear these blazers. Like, this was my whole vibe. I was kind of feeling this preppy vibe at one point. And I would wear my blazers, which because I have very broad shoulders, blazers look good on my body type. I forget what's the body type, mesomorph, something like that. I am 5'3". I also have very broad shoulders, and blazers actually is something that looks flattering on me. And because it looked good on me, my manager would see me and she would be like, oh my goodness, like, I want to go get a blazer. And I was like, okay, let's go out. We'll find you a cute blazer. And we went out, we found her a blazer. It was a really lovely structured blazer too, but she put it on and something was like not looking good about it. We could not put our finger on it. We realized the blazer wasn't blazering. It was just like, yeah, but when she wore other things, like, it was beautiful on her. And we realized, okay, Gwen, this looks good on you. It may not be good on this person. And this person can wear stuff that Gwen can't wear because of my body type, the way I'm built. And it's a wonderful reminder when we go through situations like that, because you realize when you do find what clothing looks better on you, what colors look better on you, what vibe looks better on you, it makes you feel confident. And you showing up as that person really impacts other people around you. When I started listening to videos about the Kibbe body type and I started seeing the difference between naturals and dramatics down to the hair types and the hairstyles that they do, it really made sense as to why some people will wear shaggy hairstyles, like think of Lisa Bonet and her daughter, and it's a look for them. It's like, wow, this is actually super cute, mysterious, but then other people may adopt the same shaggy hairstyle and they may look a little bit like homeless. It's not working for them. And that's because for those people, they may do better with the glam sleek style over something shaggy. Anyway, I don't know how I got on this topic, but it's a good reminder to find things that work for you, find things that works for your body type, and find things that work for your lifestyle. This is honestly what kind of made me think about the social media thing, because I just recently took another break from being online. And honestly, it was such a much needed break because I love watching my girls online. But one thing that I had to come to realize was what works for one person is not always what's good for me. There were times where I would watch someone who, maybe was saying like, Christian women shouldn't be on social media. We shouldn't be online. Like, you shouldn't be trying to make a little income. That's your husband's job. And I would take this stuff to heart. I'm like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't be, Christian women shouldn't be vlogging, and I would be like, dang, maybe I shouldn't be vlogging. Like, should I not be doing this type of content? And there was even a time I had listened to this video, the way this person had said this video, I really was like, dang, like, she sold me on this, and I took down some vlogs because I was really like, maybe she was right. And it wasn't even 3 weeks later, this same person comes full on vlog. And I remember thinking in that moment, dang, I feel like I got. And I had to realize that's on you, Gwen, because you took what this person said to be Bible. You thought just because this person was a Christian, which I really do believe they are, you took what this person said and you made that your reality, when this person could have had a completely different reality. I had to realize, Gwen, you need to take a step back. You need to seek what your gifts are, what your talents are, what your situation looks like. In particular, when it comes to content, sometimes people are different and the way they reach people is very different. Someone may be really good at videography. There was this lady that I used to watch her channel called The Cottage Fairy, and the way she filmed, the way she edited, her videos have always touched me. And it would not have had the same effect if she was just maybe talking. But then there are some content creators that I'd rather hear just speak over, watching a video from them. And doesn't mean that it's bad or good. It just means that it's different. Also, what I didn't realize is that people have different situations, even as content creators. Some people may be in a season where they have multiple children. They're doing a lot at home. They're maybe super hands-on, and so for them, they're not able to push out 30-minute videos, hour-long videos. For them, they may be doing a short form content, while someone else may have time on their hands. They may not have children, and they are able to push out hour-long videos. And it's not okay to demonize people who are doing things different than you, whether it's short form, long form, vlogs, podcast style videos. Like, people are just doing what works for them. And in this kind of space, that's ultimately what is going to be the thing that gets our messaging across, doing what comes natural to us and also playing into our giftings, whether you are good at videography or you're good and eloquent with your speech. So this realization that I had was so important for me, and it was needed because I was being a consumer of content online and taking what a lot of people were saying to heart and making their convictions my own convictions, when we all have different convictions. I share a lot about my hair weave story and how I got convicted of wearing hair extensions, and that was something that convicted me. But I still have friends who wear hair extensions because for them, hair extensions was never an idol. For them, they were totally okay with it, and I did not put my conviction on them. And I realized with social media, with online, with content creators, even my content, you really have to take things that people say with a grain of salt. You can do things differently without needing to bash what other people do. It kind of goes back to us all being different, needing different things, being attracted to different things. You can totally be doing something else without putting other people down about what they're doing, because there is a place for what they're doing. And just because you guys have different ways of showing up online, different ways of getting your content out, your messaging out, doesn't mean that either is right or wrong. It just means that you guys are going out about getting your message out differently. And Lord willing, your message will hit who it's intended to hit. Their message will hit who it's intended to hit. There are a lot of things that I don't do online, things that I don't share or show online, but I'm not going to go bash someone who does that or who has done it in the past. And that's what I was falling into. I was taking these messages and I was seeing things, I was altering things that I was doing because I would hear a message, and I really just needed to take a step back and realize, like, what is your message, and what is for you? I really do hope that I can start making like longer form videos, but I do make more shorter form content now just because it kind of flows with my lifestyle better. Even though I really think, honestly, at heart, I'm a long form kind of content kind of girl. This video is probably going to be like an hour long, okay? Because I cannot get my thoughts out in like 1 minute. I just cannot. Like, people who do that, they are a very special human being. I cannot get a thought out in 1 minute. I need at least 10 minutes. I need to lay the ground. I need to set the stage. I need to get every detail out. Like, I cannot just and then you got the messaging. No, like with me, guys, it's never been that way for me ever. So I really do hope that I can start making like longer form videos. I really wanted to kind of share this. There is a danger of taking on someone else's persona, and we really need to start digging deep and finding our particular gifting, finding things that work for us. And I'm not just talking about look wise, I'm talking about in the way we are supposed to live our lives out too. I was watching this video from this homemaker, and she was talking about this book, City Mouse, Country Mouse, or something like that. And it's like a little kid book, like 5 pages long. And so I got it for my toddler. And when I read it, it was so cute because it's basically talking about a city mouse who went to the country and was like, wow, is this all you guys have? Table scraps? Like, this is not a lot. Like, you need to come to the city. Like, we have gourmet cheeses, we have fine wine, we have all these things. And so the country mouse, who was used to table scraps but living a very slow paced life, was like, wow, like you got all that. Like, let me go to the country. Or she goes to the city. And yes, the city mouse did have gourmet cheeses. She did have wine, but she forgot to leave out. She was being chased by dogs. Like, her life was literally on the line every time. And the country mouse, after experiencing this, was like, oh no, I'm out. Get me back to the country. Like, I don't want to be living in fear every single day just to eat gourmet cheeses. Like, this is not my kind of vibe. And that book is so cute because it really showcases how us humans are. There are some people who thrive in the city. There are some people who thrive in a slower paced environment like the country. And if you are a country mouse, or you are a person who you thrive in the country, you thrive in a slower paced environment, and you're trying to be in the city, you just aren't going to fit. And it doesn't mean that the city is a bad place. It just means that's just not for you. And the same with the city person. If you're a city person, you like fast paced things, you like hustle and bustling, you like grinding, you like chatting with people, talking to people, quick, quick, quick. And you go to the country, you may not feel fulfilled. You may feel like, dang, is this all? Like, you may not get it. And it's totally okay. It's totally okay to be different and to be called to different things. And I think sometimes with like online and getting other people's opinion, we hear and we see other people doing things so well and sharing their viewpoint and sharing, it's the internet is the age of opinions. And then you think like, oh, my life has to look this way. Oh, I have to be this way. But it's like, no, maybe that's not going to work for you. Maybe that doesn't fit for you, and that's okay. So I really personally needed to kind of take a step back to realize this. And once I was able to realize this, guys, it changed how I showed up online, and it changed the way that I see content. And I've also learned to not take on what others are saying as being solely Bible. I don't take it to heart. And I think that's what I was doing in the beginning. I was taking a lot of things to heart. So I really hope this video blessed you guys. And I wanted to end off on a scripture that is really like one of my favorite scriptures, because I think sometimes we do see people, we'll see them, even if it's like someone who maybe doesn't even have an extravagant life, but it's something that you desire for yourself. Like, let's say you want to be this homemaker. Like, in the homemaking space, at one point, the whole thing was like having a farm, living on a bunch of land. And I don't think every single person was meant to have a big farm. I think it was supposed to be communal in that way. Like, when you think about a community, you think about a group of people who do different things, who have to do different things, because what person can do everything well? No one. Like, you guys may be a unicorn. I don't know. I don't know any single person who does everything well. I know people who have one skill set they hone in on and they do that well, but I don't know a doctor who also is a hairstylist, who also is a chef, who also is a herder, who also has cows. Like, I don't know a person like this. No. But when you think about a community, you think of one person who focuses on healing people, being a doctor. Then you think of someone who has mastered the art of herding animals. You think of someone who's mastered the art of maybe doing hair and grooming and like, doing esthetician. And then you think of a cook who's mastered the art of finding different ingredients, what they mean, because to master something takes time, and when you have all these people together, that builds the community. So for a short while, with this homemaker space, we were seeing so many people like, oh, I want to own cows. I want to do this. And to some degree, on a lower scale, it's fine. I definitely think everyone can own a little garden or maybe a chicken or something there. But everyone is not meant to call to do every single thing. And I wanted to share one of my scriptures that really speaks to me, and it helps me to realize just because you have a different calling as so-and-so, it doesn't mean that you're less than. It doesn't mean that you're better than. It doesn't mean that you are worse off. You're just different. And it's beautiful because when you guys come together, you create the body. So it's 1 Corinthians 12, but it says, "Now if the foot should say, because I am not a hand, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason stop being part of the body. And if the ear should say, because I am not an eye, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason stop being part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the sense of hearing be? If the whole body were an ear, where would the sense of smell be? But in fact, God has placed the parts in the body, every one of them, just as He wanted them to be. If they were all one part, where would the body be? As it is, there are many parts, but one body." That's one of my favorite scriptures, because again, it just says so beautifully how like we are all different, and when we come together, we make the body. And when one part is missing, it messes with the body. If you are an ear, to be an ear, and if you are an eye, quit trying to be a leg, because we need to see. It's like, find your gift because you can help shape lives. You can help people. And that is one of our goals here, to encourage each other, help each other, you know? So I really hope this video encouraged you and blessed you. If you guys enjoyed it, don't forget to leave me a like. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one.